And here are the other rules. We touched upon them lightly in the previous video, but here they are explained in more detail. Though they may not be as important as the rules discussed in the previous video, the important rules, these rules when followed will make your documentation look elegant, easier to read and understand. Make sure you take your notes for this video too. Whenever and wherever possible, begin instructions with a verb, an action word such as click, open, close, slide, etc. Examples of instruction statements that begin with an action word are click submit, double click the program icon on the desktop, enter the first name in the first name box, and so on. Keep sentences short and simple. Whether they are instructions, results of instructions, notes and caution statements or descriptions, avoid long sentences. Long sentences are dull and boring, and worst of all make things sound complex and difficult to understand. If you have long sentences, try and split them into 2 or more smaller sentences. Here is an example of such a long statement. Click Manage Employee from the menu and then click Create Employee from the sub-menu and fill in the fields of the employee form that opens in a new window. This sentence can be easily simplified as follows. Statement number 1. Click Manage Employee from the menu. A sub-menu opens. Statement number 2. Click Create Employee. A new window opens displaying fields. 3. Fill the fields. Similarly, try to break topics into smaller ones if they are too long. Number your instruction statements and limit the number of steps to 10 or 12. Number your instruction statements starting with 1 and proceed sequentially. Don't number non-instruction steps such as those used to explain the results of an action or instruction. As a general rule, do not exceed 12 steps. If your instruction ends with 13 or 14 steps, then that's okay. But suppose you have 18 steps or more, then divide the topic into sections. Here is an example. While creating an employee for a company database, there is a lot of information being collected. The form has fields for the employee's first name, middle name, last name, marital status, age, address, which may run into 2 or 3 fields, zip designation, and depending on the number of dependents, there could be fields for the employee's spouse, children, etc. In all, there could be as many as 20 or more fields. A topic with 20 or more instruction statements, not to forget the text and the lines for results of these instructions, and images, which we'll look into soon, will look imposing and will be tiring and challenging for the user. Instead of creating one long topic, we could make sections of this one long employee form and club related fields into these sections. So we could have an employee section for fields related to the employee and have another section called dependent section containing instructions on how to fill fields for the dependents. To avoid numbering above 12, we also restart the numbering of steps in the second section. This kind of splitting is easy on the eye for the user. Sometimes using sub-levels also help in making the topic look elegant, easy on the eye, and also prevents instructions from exceeding 12 steps. In the example, notice how similar fields have been grouped as a sub-level, and these in turn have been numbered using a different numbering style. In our case, the first sub-level uses lowercase alphabets A, B, C, and so on. Notice how in our example, we have restricted the numbering to 13 steps. Use lowercase a, b, and if you have a second sub-level, that is, a level inside the first one, then use lowercase Roman numerals 1, 2, and so on. Avoid using 1.1, 1.2.3, etc. It is recommended that you maintain just one sub-level, and in any case, don't exceed more than 2 sub-levels. Of the 2 solutions, I recommend the splitting of the long set of instructions into sections more than using sub-levels. Technical writers sometimes even use a combination of both to make a long topic appear small. Have a positive tone and wherever possible replace a negative statement with a positive one, particularly in notes and cautions. For example, in a caution, instead of a statement such as be extremely careful while using the delete function, inappropriate use will only jeopardize your system and make it inoperable. Sounds a bit too harsh. Use the following instead. It achieves the same objective in a more positive yet less frightening manner. Use the delete function with care. Delete removes all data from the system. The process is also irreversible. Begin a topic or chapter names with a gerund, words ending in ing, and using plural items wherever possible. Examples are creating users instead of creating a user or how to create a user. Within the creating users topic, you could title your content to create a user, that is, use the singular expression. However, not all topic names can begin with a gerund, that is, words ending in ing, such as creating, deleting, modifying, etc. Exceptions are introduction, welcome, how to sign in, and so on. Avoid using him, her, and particularly the use of him/her. So replace layman with layperson, salesman or salesgirl with salesperson. Be on the lookout for similar sexist words and replace them with convenient alternatives. Avoid trying to be funny. Absolutely no jokes are allowed in user manuals. Or being overly friendly or polite, that is, using words such as please, thank you, sorry, etc. And avoid the marketing pitch or the sales pitch in your content. So, are there any more rules? There are a few more, and for better understanding, I haven't included them in these two videos. We'll look into them as we move on. Next, let's look at some of the most common errors in technical writing grammar before we take up writing our first topic using the rules that we have just learned.